I remember when I first started working out, I didn't feel confident in these 3 lifts, and it kind of played a role in my results. I didn't feel confident in like the squat, deadlift, and overhead press. Specifically, overhead press just felt weak, and when it came to squat and deadlift, I just didn't feel confident in the mechanics of performing those lifts. And those are big compound lifts, and skipping out on those were just hindering my results, and I don't want that to happen to you, and I don't want you to be nervous about it. If you want to do it, I want you to be able to be confident in yourself when you're doing it. And this is something that I wish I would have had when I first started, especially understanding on how to do the movement correctly. And that's the point of the video, is wanting to get you better with these big movements, because I believe they are the core lifts that you gotta get bigger and better at, because they drive the squat up. Like the deadlift drives the squat up. And that's what we're gonna go through today, is the deadlift and how we could do it correctly and how we could avoid injuries, because deadlift is a big lift where people get hurt at because they are unsure of how to do the movement. Now we're going to talk about the deadlift and why I want you to do it, and I know why you're avoiding it, because of maybe the things you hear about it. Because it's such a big lift and it's easy to get hurt in it, and it's easy just to want to throw weight on the bar and just grip it and rip it, because that's what I feel like you see most of online on social media. So today we're going to talk about why you should be doing the deadlift and all the benefits you're going to get out of the deadlift, and just learning the basics of doing it so you can start early and start building that confidence with this incredible lift. Yeah, so you hear stories like, for example, tearing your bicep tendon. It's common with the deadlift when you do overhand and underhand grip. So I teach a more pronated grip both ways. Keeps you disciplined with weight. We're not power lifters. Here's why you need to start deadlifting. Here's the positive things you need to know about it. It's a great exercise for the posterior chain. So the entire part of the posterior chain, think of the entire back, hamstrings, glutes, everything. This is going to allow you to have a stronger squat too, just because the posterior chain has gotten stronger. So now muscles that get involved in the deadlift are your quads, hamstrings, glutes, adductors, erectors, lower back, and everything upper body gets involved too. So now, why you need to do it? Because it's a compound lift. It's a big ass lift, so you're going to use a lot more energy doing this lift. And things you need to think about is, this should be prioritized during the beginning of your workout, the very first workout. If this is something that you want to get better at, I would do it when you're fresh, when you're ready to go, when you're more alert. When you're fatigued and you try doing this in the end of your workout, 1, you're not going to get a lot out of it, and 2, you could get hurt. As I finish my stretches here, the hips, just a little bit, just doing a hip stretch. You want to think about when you're doing your deadlift too, you don't want to do a stripper style deadlift. That means your hips rise first, and then your lower backs take over. You want to think as your chest and your hips move up together as you pull that weight off the ground. So pay attention to that when you are doing the deadlift, and you'll see me do an example of the lift here, of explaining what not to do, and then of course we're going to go through the proper progressions of doing a deadlift. Because when I first did this, and then when I was taught by my mentor, everything clicked. And then I just started getting stronger from it. And then it started getting fun, and as it should be. And I started building that confidence with it. So this is something that I want you to work at too. All right, we're gonna go through proper deadlift technique. This is more conventional. Conventional shoulder width stance. See a lot of guys stand super close together or a little outside their shoulders. The good guys that I see, they're really close. So we're gonna do close. My knees are in line with my toes. From here, I want the bar to be in the middle part of my feet. And I'm going to squat down, and my hands are hooks. So the minute I'm able to touch the bar, that's my spot. I want to make sure, though, my knees aren't over my toes. I have more of a vertical, perpendicular shin angle. So I want to feel more of my glutes do the job, right? They should feel like they're tightening up, they're activating. So from here, I want to make sure that my ribs aren't sticking out, so ribs down, so I'm not putting any excessive stress on the lower back. And then from here, I'm going to activate my lats by actually rotate my arms, closing that space from my arm and my torso, so that I should not see any light coming between my arm and my torso. So from here, tight, and then we're going to brace. Brace is super important. You don't need a belt. Push that belly out, hold that air in there, and drive through your legs. The minute that bar crosses my knees, I'm driving my hips through. And then we're going to do a Romanian deadlift on the way down. So think of a hamstring exercise. RDL, push hips back, and the minute that bar crosses my knees, squat down. Pause, go through the progressions again. Remember, this is what I tell my clients. Knees, I also spread the floor, so make sure your knees don't cave in. Spread the floor, activate lats, and a good brace. Okay, proper progressions again. Walking to the bar, feet close together, bar middle part of my feet, squat down. Make sure your knees aren't caving in. Make sure spread by pushing the floor out. Make sure my shin angle is not too far over my toes, should be right and back. Feel the hips, glutes. Grab the bar. And we're going to activate lats. So a lot of times when I see people, I'm going to show you what I see a lot when we do this incorrectly. When they get ready to push, you see the hips rise first, and then they pick it up. So we want hips and chest to come up together. Understand this movement. I hope that you go through this movement and be less anxious about it, because now you understand on the proper progressions. Remember, when doing this lift for your first time, start light, put 10s on the bar, the bumper plates, and focus on progressions, doing it right. Once it starts feeling right, you start increasing weight, and really focus on a good brace, meaning inhaling, filling your belly up with air, holding that air in there, squeezing, and that's your brace. That's what's going to protect your lower back. You're unable to do that if you're an extension and your ribs are popping out or anything. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you got a lot out of this, and I hope that you're less anxious about this lift. This is part 1 of the series. Next series for part 2, we'll go through the squat. I appreciate you, and leave a comment below if you have any questions.
So we'll start with the weekend. Now with the weekend being